With good people like Sherrod Brown in the United States Senate. Welcome back, 34 minutes past.
Good intro. All right. How cool is that?
I'm so glad to have you with us.
Make my day. Thanks.
I made a reference to a Kennedy clip a while back, and I just want to show. I'm going to play this. Everybody can hear it on the radio. People on TV won't be able to see it, but I just wanted to show this to you. And maybe I can't click the button. There's the play button right there.
Those who say
that
this should be left to private effort.
He's talking about
in
Medicare.
Those hospitals in New Jersey where the doctors said they wouldn't treat anyone, who paid their hospital bills through Social Security, those hospitals and every other new hospital, the American people, all of us, contribute 1/2, 1 or 2/3 for every new hospital, the national government. We pay 55% of all the research done. We help young men become doctors. We are concerned with the progress of this country. And those who say that what we are now talking about spoils our great pioneer heritage should remember that the West was settled with two great actions by the national government. One, in President Lincoln's administration, when he gave a homestead to everyone who went west, and in 1862, he set aside government property to build our land-grant colleges. This cooperation...
There you go. This cooperation between government and it's an amazing piece. And I'm just wondering, Senator Brown, what happened to that America?
Well, and you go back further. My family settled in north central Ohio in 1819, and they had a land grant, 640 acres. You paid $1 to start the land, to clear the land and farm.
To get a block, a square mile.
Part of the Northwest Territory, and I believe it was the Northwest Territory.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that exactly. Well, they're part of the state. Was incorporated state by then, but that's how they settled the West. It was land reform, where the government basically gave the land if people agreed to farm it. So it's there's been. I mean, you wonder where. It really is since the early '80s when we have just failed to fund infrastructure, and infrastructure is everything from community colleges to hospitals, to highways and bridges, to public transit, to broadband, to all that we should be doing, and we've underfunded it, and that's why kids have the kind of student loan debt they do, and why working class kids can't even go to college in too many cases, and why we don't do the medical research we should, and why we don't fund our highway system the way we should.
Yeah. So the sense that I get is that with this election, with you winning against an avalanche, tens of millions of dollars of oil company money and bankster money coming down on your head, Barack Obama winning, we now know that there was even Saudi money, working against Barack Obama. Lee Fong reporting this in The Nation magazine yesterday. They've tracked, some of this money from some of these trade associations, the American Petroleum Institute in this case, that even in the face of all of this, the American people are still saying, or appear to be saying, we would rather live in a we society than a me society. And yet at the same time, John Boehner's response to President Obama saying, okay, what you want to cut is, well, let's raise the Medicare eligibility age by 2 years. It seems to me like the Republicans are doubling down on insane that lost.
Yeah, well, they are, and I think that's what raises the stakes, because if the president were to back down, I don't think he's going to, but if he were to back down, it would be next to impossible for us to ever even attempt to catch up on what we need to do for public investment, and it'd be damn near impossible for the next decade or so to raise taxes on the wealthiest in this country. It really is bigger than just this one showdown on this one budget and this one tax increase, and that really, to me, just emphasizes the importance of standing strong here.
We're talking with Senator Sherrod Brown. SherrodBrown.com is the website, and brown.senate.gov?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's on your plate right now? What are you really passionate about? What's got you excited or concerned?
Well, we were playing defense in some sense to make sure that eligibility age for Social Security and Medicare isn't raised, that Medicaid isn't cut, but we're playing offense in so many other ways. And to me, it's how do we deal with this terrible increasing chasm between the very wealthy and everybody else, partly through a tax system, partly through a better jobs policy, partly through helping unions organize. We know that you can look since the 70s where profits have continued to by and large go up, productivity's continued to go up, and wages have gone down as unionization rates have gone down. And clearly, that's not the kind of society we want to have in this country. where people don't have a chance to organize, and where people that create wealth for their employers don't share in that wealth. And
but that is the kind of nation that the Koch brothers want. It is the kind of nation that the Walmart seems to want. I mean, it's what are the historically the levers that were used to push back on that were things like Franklin Roosevelt and Jack Kennedy taking the bully pulpit and giving speeches like Jack Kennedy just said. Our pioneer heritage actually is consistent with progressive values, and how can these guys try and hijack it? Those kind of things. Do you have suggestions for? I don't want to ask you to make a suggestion to the president, but
I think that,
where do we go?
It's incumbent on people like you that are progressive, strong, solid, broadly listened to voices, and people like me in elective office to talk about the role of government. I mean, I in my state, in my campaign, I talked about the auto rescue, that was a partnership. It was, at the time, it was a bit bipartisan. It got less and less that way. It was a partnership between the federal government and local communities and local businesses. I wear on my lapel, and I mentioned, I think to you before, that it's a canary in a bird cage. It's a depiction of the canary going down in the mine. If the canary died, the mine worker, who had no union strong enough or government that cared enough in those days, was on his own. And you look at what's happened in these last 100 years since the canary was taken in the mine, the role of progressive values in this country that helped to create Medicare and Social Security and safe drinking water and clean air and women's rights and civil rights and disability protections and prohibitions on child labor and all the things we did as a society. And it wasn't that politicians just did it because we were good-hearted. It did it because people in trade unions, people in their ethnic organizations, people in their church basements, people in the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, pushed government to do these things. And it really was, we're in it together, and really did bring up and created a middle class and gave working class kids an opportunity to actually join the middle class. And that's what we have less of today than we had 50 years ago.
How do you communicate that? I know Bernie has done this brilliantly in northern Vermont. You know, I lived in Vermont, and you drive through the Northeast Kingdom, which is kind of like East Kentucky. I mean, it's just solid red. And out in front, in 2000, I remember driving through there, and there'd be a Bush sign and a Sanders sign in the same. I mean, hundreds of them. You know, hundreds of houses with a Bush sign and a Sanders sign. How do genuine progressives, and I'm guessing the same thing was happening in Ohio, that there were a lot of people who voted for you who might have voted for a few Republicans, or maybe not. I don't know. But how do we communicate to those red state folks who used to get it, and I think they've been snookered, frankly.
Well, sure they have, and we don't talk to them well enough. It's partly a populist economic message. It's not a liberal, conservative, left-right issue. I mean, the public doesn't see things across a political spectrum. They ultimately think, is she on my side? Is he on my side? And I think you need to make that case for government. You make that case for Medicare. You make that case for Social Security. You make that case for student loans. You make that case for safe drinking water, that government is in partnership with the private sector. And I mean, I just think we back off those arguments far too often as elected officials and as people that are progressive Democrats. I don't think we make it strong enough or frequently enough.
It's always seemed to me that we've only conveyed half the meme, too, that we say, you know, the Republicans will say, well, you don't want the government between you and your doctor, in other words, paying the bill, but nobody then says, but then who do you want? You want a private for-profit insurance company like United Healthcare that pays 2 consecutive CEOs in a row over $1 billion? I mean, both William McGuire and Stephen J. Hemsley both made more than $1 billion as CEOs of a health insurance company. Really? That's who you want between you and your health?
Yeah, I think I've seen that with a number of doctors. I mean, there are, the AMA is a conservative organization. Increasingly, numbers of doctors aren't, and I think they increasingly see that do they want insurance companies or do they want the government that can
But I mean, whether it's
role?
health insurance or it's...
But in that case, I think that's it,
Yeah, pretty much anything, though. You know, do you really want the government involved in your banking? Well, do you really want unregulated banksters?
Well, in Ohio, there's a fight now. The governor is sort of implying that he's about to, unclear if he's going to try to do it before his reelection campaign, to privatize the state's Turnpike. And people increasingly are saying, wait a second, you turn it over to the private sector, wages will be cut, the fees, the Turnpike tolls will go up, maintenance will be delayed. Is that what you want? And
Right.
we're making that argument, whether it's privatizing prisons or Turnpike or Medicare or Social Security. I mean, we win these fights on privatization if we weigh in that people think, well, wait a minute, the private sector probably wouldn't do this as well as the government.
Maybe instead of using the word privatize, we should say Walmartize it.
Walmartize it, voucherize.
Voucherize, yeah. I mean, it's
voucherize certainly suggests connotations to Medicare that people abhor.
Yeah, it does, and this and again, the Republicans in the House have just come out and said, the last 2 years in a row, we passed a budget that voucherizes Medicare. We want to do it again. Won't that be fun?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It's like, what are you guys? Anyway, Senator Sherrod Brown, thanks so much for being with us.
It's an
honor to have you in the studio with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And much appreciated. And brown.senate.gov is website, and of course, sherrodbrown.com. We'll be back. It's 45 minutes past the hour here on the Thom Hartmann Program. Stick around back with your calls. My thoughts, the news of the day, and more. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
And please drop by Sherrod Brown's website, sherrodbrown.com and brown.senate.gov, and check them out. There's a lot of great information on both of them.